Tom England deserves to be in a different love story. I hate that. Hey guys, welcome to my reading vlog. In this video, I am trying to get out of a reading slump. I have been in a treacherous reading slump ever since I reread the Hunger Games series. I need this video to help me. So my goal for this video is to end it wanting to read more, and I have a little bit of a TBR that I've chosen, but mostly I'm mood reading and kind of just picking the books as I go. So the first book that we're going to start off by reading is Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm just going to be finishing it up. I started it 3 months ago when it first came out, and I never finished it. I was dragging my feet. I didn't want the story to end, and I think that's how my reading slump started. It's the last book I read before I stopped reading. But yeah, finishing up Sunrise on the Reaping, and then I have 2 new books that I have not read but is very highly rated that I would like to read after that. Yeah, let's get into reading Sunrise on the Reaping. Okay, it has been a few days since I last spoke to you guys, and it is because I really needed to gather my thoughts in total on how I feel about this book, because it threw me for a loop. Genuinely, it took me 3 months to finish reading this book, and when I finished it, I was so sad because I didn't want that outcome. We knew it was gonna happen. We knew, obviously, Haymitch is a mentor. He lives, but it's just the connection and the bond I had with certain characters, and even Haymitch. I don't know. I saw some people saying like it was unnecessary, or we didn't need an additional book, or that the way that the characters' lives are intertwining is just for the fans. It's just Suzanne Collins pleasing the fans. I completely disagree with this. It makes so much sense to me that these people have a backstory, that they have history together, because the seam is so small. We know that District 12 is so small. We know that all the districts are confined to each other. You're not allowed to travel between the districts. Of course, they're gonna know each other. Of course, they're gonna recognize different people often. I mean, even Katniss and Peeta having some type of history, some type of link between each other. They always kind of knew of each other. Like, this is not going to be an uncommon thing in a place where there is no escaping. I also thought this book was so important because it shows that, like, and I've seen so many other people say this, and I think it's a spot-on analysis, that the reader is not immune to the Capitol's propaganda. You know the basis of Haymitch's Hunger Games. You know, obviously, that he lives, and that obviously every other character does not. But you learn who Haymitch is at his core before the man that they displayed him as, before he was just a drunk or just a man helping Katniss and Peeta survive who decided to care. You know, like, that's how we see him in the first 3 books almost. Like, you're like, oh, actually Haymitch is a good person and he cares about them, he loves about them. Like, this is the moment he decided that he wants them to survive. But then you read this book and you're like, at his core was never gonna not want Katniss and Peeta to survive. And he was never at his core a drunk or a bad person, or it's just the journey that he went through as a 16-year-old. So I think that's so important to see, because it shows the lengths that they're willing to go to control the narrative, that even I was thinking, how on earth are all these people just doing the Hunger Games? They're just existing and allowing themselves to be reaped, and they're not protesting. They're not in an uproar until the Hunger Games trilogy. But then you read this book and you realize that's not necessarily true. And of course, the Capitol wouldn't want us to know that. Of course, we wouldn't know ahead of time that Katniss isn't the first Mockingjay. I could go on and on and on about this book. I could read her books for a lifetime. She could release a Finnick book, a Beatty book, Joanna book, a Peeta book, a Prim book, and I would read them all happily. In November 2026, front row and center I will be. It put me in a reading slump. It took me 3 months to read it. Now that I've read it, I want to reread it. I want to get tabs. There's a few pages where I literally pulled out my pen, which is something I've never ever done before. I've never considered because it scares me, but I pulled out my pen and underlined certain quotes because they just were that deep. 5-star. Obviously, the way I just ranted and raved about this book and Suzanne Collins in general, it's gonna be a 5-star for me. Every Hunger Games book is gonna be a 5-star for me. Easily. Okay, now that we've gotten that rating and review out of the way, I could have went on forever, but I had to stop myself. I think it's time to get on to our next book that is supposed to be helping me get out of my reading slump. I will say, I think I'm like 40% there already. Ending the Hunger Games book, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start a new book. That book ended very well. It was like emotional, it was sad, I was crying, and I was ready to pick up something lighthearted and fun and happy, and something that had really good reviews that I expected to be a 5-star read. Funny Story by Emily Henry. This book has insanely good reviews. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody has read it. So I picked it up. It's maybe one of her most popular books out of all of them. I've never read an Emily Henry book before. I've heard that it's fast paced, that it's fun, it's cutesy, it's romantic, and I think that's the perfect thing I would need to help me get even further out of my reading slump. Hopefully we can get to like 60% out of it, and my last book can take me the rest of the way out of my reading slump, and then I can just be a reader again. So I've had read up to page 55. Not a lot of pages, but technically a few chapters, and so far I have liked it. It's very cutesy. Miles, so far I'm rooting for him. I don't know if that's gonna change. Really liking this book so far. Not, like I said, I'm not very many pages in, but I'm gonna go cook dinner or start cooking dinner, and I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking of it. I have to say, so far in this book, like, I am starting to understand the Emily Henry hype, and it's making me want to go buy more Emily Henry books. I don't know, I feel like sometimes in books when I'm getting bored, I pick up my phone or I start doom scrolling. That did not happen at all last night while I was reading this book. I was getting to the peak of them like becoming friends and like actually starting to like each other, and it was just so cute. Like, I was literally in bed giggling. So they're fake dating and they're forced to be roommates, and it's just like they're slowly starting to bond through fake dating, but really it's not through fake dating. It's just because they're in close proximity with each other, they're roommates, and they're starting to fall in love with each other. And like, the fake dating trope only applies to two people in the book, because only Petra and Peter think that they're fake dating. Everybody else knows that they're just friends. Getting 5-star vibes from this book. I like it a lot, so I'm gonna keep reading because that's pretty much what I've been doing all day today. So it has officially been about a day or two since I've finished this book, and let me tell you, I took that day to process and to think before I rated this book, because I wanted to truly like let the characters settle in my head, let the story complete in my mind and come to an end before starting my next book, or before fully giving this book a recap and a review and express to you guys how I felt about this book and its characters. So first I'll give you a recap of everything, even though I know there's a blurb on the back for that very purpose. But in this book we explore obviously Daphne and Miles and their partners Peter and Petra, and also their town and the people around them, and just their journey through discovering themselves, through Daphne discovering the town, her connection with people, why she connects with people the way she does, same with Miles, why he connects with people the way he does, and also discovering their friend group and the people around them. And I think it's just become such a cute journey, but also such a meaningful one. Like, I was shocked, you guys saw, of me crying reading this book, because I really thought it was just going to be a cutesy fun book, and yet each character had so much depth and like underlining meaning to them, and the things that we were doing kind of seems like you're just going through their everyday lives, you're going through the motions, but then as you're reading the book and the things the characters are saying, it's like that's the exact point. We're going through the everyday motions, and you're meant to be picking up on the little things, as Daphne would say. Like, it's the little things that accumulate, and those are the things that matter the most in life, and it's not like the big things that are screaming at you on the pages like, look at this is important. You're just reading about their lives, and then you back up and you're like, wait, that was cutesy, that was important, or wait, that had significance. You know, like, I just found myself really enjoying that about this book, enjoying learning about the town and like the places Miles goes for comfort, or the places Miles is willing to take Emily for comfort, or how, or not Emily, Daphne for comfort, and how Daphne is willing to get out of her box finally and explore all these different things that she never got a chance to explore with Peter, with Miles. And we see how they're fake dating, but like, I think I've said this before, they're not actually fake dating, really. It's more of a close proximity trope than anything, because, or forced proximity trope than anything, because they're forced to be roommates. She has really nowhere else to go at the start of the book, after Peter kind of like chooses his best friend over her. So she has nowhere else to go but to live with Miles, and they just live and coincide together without really ever talking or being friends, really. And slowly they become friends because they're both heartbroken over the same people and for the same reasons, and they both have the same jealousies about each other's partners being with each other. And so it comes out where accidentally says they're dating and now they're fake dating, but they know they're not dating and their friends know they're not dating and the people in their close circle know that they're not dating. It's only Petra and Peter who think they are dating. They're just getting close because they're being friends, and Miles agrees to show her around the town so that she doesn't leave at the end of the summer and that she doesn't let Peter take this town from her the way that he's taken so much from her already. Right, and through that they kind of like bond and they grow together, and it's just such a cute journey. And with all that being said, I really obviously enjoyed this book so much, so many different things that I thought personally connected to me, and I think that might be why I even cried while reading this book, is just because like when they were speaking about their families and their connection with their families and how it impacts how they connect with different people and their love interests, and why she allows herself to be a shell of a person, or why he doesn't allow himself to ever really feel. I think I am in a way a mix of them both. And then I saw like with Ashley saying that she's just allows herself to settle in life and she's allows herself to get back in the same routine and she's gotten bored, and I was like, I feel like I can relate to that as well. So there was just so many different characters and different aspects of everyone was saying that I was like, I can relate to each and every character. Like these people feel so personable to me, and it was just like, I think that's why I cried, that's why I enjoyed it, that's why I thought it felt like I was reading real life people, like going through a real life experience, even though it's something so silly as like their best friends fell in love and now they have to live together. It still felt like something that like the way that they were experiencing this breakup felt like real people would experience a breakup like this. Real people who are forced to be roommates could hang out this way, and like the familial connections and problems that they were having are real things that could occur because they're things that I related to. And then what else did I enjoy about this book? Pretty much everything. This is the first book I've ever read that made me want to annotate a book, and I even bought like tabs and stuff so that I can start annotating, but they didn't come until I was already finished reading it. It did take me 5 days to finish, on and off. I am a little bit of a slow reader, so on and off it took me 5 days to read it, and this book is like I think 400 pages, a little over 400 pages, but I don't really mind. I like to read slow. I like to really enjoy the characters. I like to stop myself at a certain point so at night I can let the story develop in my mind and think about where I think it's gonna go before I continue reading. So I like to play with the story a little bit and not just blur through it, just because I'm the kind of person where I don't like stories to end, and when they do I like to just rewatch or reread them, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with this book. I already know this is going to be on my reread list, and that I can't wait to be able to go back in and annotate it the way I didn't get to do the first time. And I'm gonna say it's like a 5 to 6 star read for me. I really enjoyed it, which I don't think is surprising. I think this is one of many people's favorite books of Emily Henry, and it's making me want to go pick up another book of hers. The next book I am reading, I have already started it tonight, or yesterday I started it, but it's gonna be Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This book has raving reviews or horrible reviews, and that's kind of what drew me to it. I think Funny Stories the same way, where it has either raving reviews or horrible reviews, and those are the kind of books that kind of draw me in, because I'm just interested, where am I gonna land on the spectrum? Is this a book that I'm really gonna like or not like? I figured I would give them a try. I would read them. They're very cutesy covers. I liked the original ones better, obviously. I think everyone does, but I still think these ones are cute, and everyone said that they give like Gossip Girl as high society London. I don't know a lot about it going into it. I did not read the blurb. I know that it's like high society London and a toxic relationship. I know that it's supposed to be a romance, this and that, so that I'm kind of going into this book blind, which is normally how I like going into things. I did start it yesterday. I actually got pretty far. I got 198 pages in. I have 200 pages left to go. You're gonna see me read this a little bit, and then you're gonna see pretty much everything I just said, but more extensive details I'm pretty sure I mentioned last night, and then I'm gonna finish it and we can come back and talk about my recap of all of the books and how I felt about them all together. Yes, that's all I have to say so far. Okay, so I let my myself kind of take a breather and think for a little bit before picking up Magnolia Parks after a funny story, but I'm on chapter 9 now, which is page 72, and I feel like the chapters are going by really quickly. They're like 3 or 4 pages per chapter, sometimes a little bit more, but not too much. The read feels like it's going by very, very quickly. I like the dual POV between BJ and Magnolia. I am starting to understand the characters, their POVs, their backstories, and why Magnolia and BJ are the way they are. I know a lot of people are like, I could never read a cheating book. I don't necessarily care. I kind of feel like reading this book is giving me the same vibes as just watching a TV show without having to watch a TV show, so I'm liking that part of it. Chapter 9, we're learning a little bit about obviously Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine and their friend group and how they all function as friends, how they kind of met, how long they've known each other, and why the dynamics are the way they are. We get to see Magnolia and just one of her boyfriends so far, but the way she talks about it, you can tell that she tends to just date people. And then we can see BJ's, like, I mean, right away in chapter 1, him being with another girl and not cheating on her because they haven't dated in 2 years, but intentionally sleeping around to get her attention, and then she's intentionally dating people to get his attention. But they aren't together right now. They haven't been together in 2 years. And then we get to see little bits and pieces as to what caused them to break up. I still have no idea why they broke up. We just know that he cheated potentially, but we don't know like what led up to the cheating, why he cheated. We don't know much of anything. So far, it is giving me Gossip Girl vibes, which everyone says I feel like, and I like it. It's giving me a reality TV show. I like the way it looks. It's not as pretty as the like OG covers that I really, really wanted, but were $30 a book. It's still very cutesy. I'm liking it. I chose these hot pink tabs to use. I'm just using this tab marker as my bookmark, and I'm using the hot pink tabs, not like per character, but I like to tag things that make me actually feel things audibly. So like this one, then I remember it, like a physical punch in the gut, how much I loved him, really loved him. To the bone, loved him. Cut me and I'd bleed him. How much I needed him, still needed him, would forever, always, never couldn't, even if I tried, needed him. And I remember being deeply afraid of what my life would look like without him. I thought that was like not the cutest. Like, I feel like I've seen people be like, oh my gosh, like she just loves him so much from that quote. And I pinned it because it just showed how toxic they are. Like, it's really not that cute for her to be like, cut me and I'd bleed him. Like, I love him. I'm desperately in love with him. As we're talking about her finding him in a room with another woman. I mean, there's other obviously backstory to that, but I don't know. It's not my favorite book so far. Like, I normally by chapter 9, I'm like giddy. I'm getting into it right now. I'm enjoying it. I'm still reading it. Like I said, it's very fast paced, and that's what's keeping me reading it. And then something else I really like about this book is the characters are almost talking to you. So I get to see Magnolia Park's thoughts, I get to see BJ Valentine's thoughts, but then also they're communicating to you, the reader. She's like, for example, chapter 7, I'm not gonna spoil, but at the beginning of the chapter she goes, you're wondering, I know you are, everyone does, why we aren't together. Infidelity aside, you think he's perfect, that we're perfect, and nothing in this world, past, present, or future, could be big enough or bad enough to justify us not being together. I get it, I've been there, I thought that too. So like, she's speaking to the reader, so we can see her thoughts, we can hear everything she's thinking, both her and BJ, but then we also get to see their little side comments to us. I'm gonna keep reading it obviously and seeing where it takes me. 5-star for me is a book that like I'm out loud like audibly enjoying it. I'm making little giggles and laughing, or I can't put it down. And I wouldn't necessarily say I haven't been able to put it down, but I have been interested. Like, I do want to know what happens. And controversial opinion, from what I've seen in the reviews, I think I like BJ. Like, I understand he's kind of sucks and he's cheating and he cheated on Magnolia, but so far, I'm only chapter 9 in, only 72 pages in, so don't judge me so far, but I kind of like him. I feel like there's more to his story. I feel like there's got to be a reason why he is the way he is, because like he's so protective of Magnolia, and even when the other girl comes over and she's touching Magnolia's stuff, he's like, don't touch her stuff. There's a line between you and Magnolia. You're on this side. This is Magnolia. She is specialty, royalty. She's everything to me. She's someone I've known my whole life since we were 7. You are just a girl. And like, ugh, I hate that sentence that I just put together. But I just like, we'll see. We'll see. In this update, I just kind of want to say, like, I'm getting a little bit bored. I found myself getting frustrated with the characters right here where I'm at chapter 29. Going into it, getting up until this point, I was interested in how Magnolia and BJ grew up and how they knew each other and kind of this dynamic between them where it's definitely a love-hate relationship, but mostly love. In 200 pages and I'm fed up. How many times can we go back and forth and back and forth and at this point, like, just be together or don't be together, forgive him or don't forgive him, care that he's with other girls or don't care because technically he's not cheating, they're not dating, they're not together. It's just the most, I'm just getting annoyed. We're just following their day-to-day lives. It's not very plot driven. There's nothing that's like I'm waiting on something to happen. I'm waiting on them to get together because really, truthfully, I'm not waiting on them to get together at all. I don't anticipate them getting together. And this dynamic between Magnolia and BJ and her dynamic, how it affects everyone around them, you can kind of tell how it's affecting their friends and their friend group and literally, like I said, everyone around them, including the media. And that part is interesting, and I really do enjoy, like, I kind of feel like I know these characters, like, they feel like real people, because as annoying as it is that Magnolia just keeps forgiving BJ, to me, it feels realistic. Like, she feels like that friend who's, like, constantly going back to the wrong guy. I feel like I'm in this relationship at this point. Like, I feel like I'm going back over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I can't do this anymore. I can't imagine what the next 200 pages is gonna be. Like, how can there be 200 more pages of I love him, I want to be with him, he did it again. I'm so angry at you, BJ. I love him, I forgive him. For now, it's feeling like a 3-star read for me because I just can't understand how we can be this far into the book and nothing has happened. If we're just spinning in circle and circle and circle. But I'm just kind of tired of it. I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading it. It's still interesting for now, but it's feeling like a 3-star read because I'm just feeling like there's just no way I have 200 more pages of this. There's just no way. We shall see though. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe something is happening. Maybe I'm a chapter away from greatness. I'm a chapter away from understanding. I'm currently on chapter 29, so we shall see. I have a few things tapped, literally not many, just things that I have reacted to. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So we'll see. Okay, I have officially finished Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, and I have to say, I did not in a million years think that this book was going to give me the kind of emotions I had by reading it. I was excited for it, then I was dreading it, I was tired of it, and then by the end of the book, I left off content and happy with reading it and wanting to order book 2. So let's talk about Magnolia Parks. I rated this book a 3-star because although I did end up enjoying it, there were bits and pieces of the book that I could not stand. And then even though there was bits and pieces I couldn't stand and like deserved a lower star rating than a 3, I was thoroughly entertained. I enjoyed it. I read it in the span of I think 2 to 3 days, which is pretty quick for me because I was just like reading and reading and reading. And normally I space books out a bit more. I actually annotated quite a bit, not a ton, but quite a bit of things I annotated. And yeah, so let's just talk about it. I don't even know what to say. So reading this book going into it, I noticed, and I've said this before, like earlier in the video, I was just flying through the book. It felt like it was just so entertaining. There was a lot going on. There was constantly something happening. No matter how annoyed I was at BJ's character, when he was with Magnolia and just on his own, like his thinking, his thoughts, his POV, I was like, oh, this kid is like dreadful. But also, I liked him separate from Magnolia, and I like Magnolia separate from BJ, and together I just cannot stand them. And it's because like Tom is my redemption arc of the book. Like I think without Tom, I probably would not have liked this book. I would have given it a 1-star rating. I loved Tom. He's my favorite character, which is kind of insane to me because he's such a flat character. He is just a side character, like to the whole BJ Magnolia drama, and he was my favorite. He doesn't, I think I wrote in my Goodreads like Tom doesn't belong in this book because genuinely, even for somebody who we only have like really 5 details about, his character doesn't really grow. He doesn't have a character arc. We don't learn anything more about his purpose once he gets into the book. Like we learn a little bit about him up front, and then once he's once he's in the book, we don't really learn any additional details about him, I want to say. And still, he is my favorite character. I liked him so much. I liked him with Magnolia. I liked him in the book. Tom England deserves to be in a different love story. But I just really enjoyed it, actually. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it. I don't want to say I really enjoyed it because I only somewhat enjoyed this book. I think overall I was really annoyed with the whole like the constant back and forth was like you hurt me, I hurt you hurt me. And in actuality, I feel like what BJ did is 1,000 times worse than Magnolia having a fake boyfriend that he knows is a fake boyfriend, but then for him to actually go sleep with other people in front of her is kind of diabolical. Knowing that the reason they broke up is because he cheated on her. After reading 400 pages, I don't understand how they're even comparing Magnolia having a boyfriend to BJ cheating on her. So that part of the book I never really understood. I think the back and forth and the we're entangled together, like it's me and BJ. I get that it's supposed to be a yearning. I get that, but I felt in the end it really wasn't yearning. It was just words on paper. No matter how hurt Magnolia gets or how hurt BJ gets from hurting Magnolia, I don't ever feel connected to the characters. These characters, like I am reading their story and it's very interesting, but I don't cry when Magnolia cries. I don't. The only time I actually got sad in the book is for Tom England, which is crazy, like I said, because he's literally a side character. I thought the ending is what got me. It's what pulled me back into the book. Very like literally the last few chapters when we got to see Magnolia and Tom actually hang out together, I was like, this could be good. Like if I would so much more enjoy the book if there was a few chapters where Magnolia was off in a fake relationship for several chapters and then like BJ is thinking about her. He's not genuinely trying to win Magnolia back. And then Magnolia is off on her own and she's figured out that maybe she really can survive without BJ, but then he wins her back. I feel like that would be 1,000 times more interesting than like she literally just saw him cheating on her, cried miserably, and then turned around and came back to BJ. That to me was like, I just don't understand it. But at the same time, I thought there was something authentically real about it. Like these characters, I don't know if they felt like real people to me or not. I don't know. I mean, the main male character's name is literally BJ. It's a little bit on the nose. It felt real in the sense that in a real toxic relationship, there really is a push and a pull. And like in a real toxic relationship, there really is gonna be a difficulty actually leaving the person that you've known your whole life and you've been in love with your whole entire life. Like I can't speak for it because I've never gone through it, but I can only imagine like if you've actually been cheated on, but it's by somebody that you've known your whole life. And like I know there's no way you would actually want to hurt me. Like you love me. And then I mean the facts are the facts. He cheated on you, so you're like, do I get over it? Do I not? Like, okay, I see him kissing other girls, but like I date other people and like I kiss other people too. And like I know he goes a step further, but we're no longer dating. Like I could see the confusion in that. Tom England really did it for me. The whole going to the ball together as a throuple, I thought was like, that did it for me. That's what pulled me into the book. I thought that was the cutest part. The group text among the three of them, that was the best part of the book. Was any of this romance? I don't know. Was anything about this book a romance book? I want to say no. I just read a book about people's lives. I don't know. Like, and maybe that is the point. Maybe that is the purpose of this book, where you're really just reading a book about, you're just reading a book about a bunch of people's lives who grew up rich without real parental supervision and no borders, and they didn't learn how to regulate their emotions, and they really don't know what they're doing in the world other than the fact that they have a lot of money and they can do whatever they want to do. Last night, I was sitting in bed last night because I was like, I can't read it. Like, I don't like it. And I was like, you know what? It's really not that bad. This is when I knew I was kind of liking the book. I set it down on my nightstand yesterday and I was like, I don't like it. Like, I'm tired of it. And then I was like, I kind of wonder what happened with Magnolia and BJ. What do you know? I was curious about the relationship status. So I picked up the book and I started reading and I was like, actually, this is the best few chapters I have read the entire book, because the entire book you're really spinning in circles and the same thing is happening over and over and over again. But then when you get to Tom England's portion, it's like so much better. After chapter 29, I'm like, yes, I like this book. After page 200, I'm like, I actually like the book. 3-star rating, that's all it is. I know I just yapped and yapped and yapped about it, and I feel like it could for other people be a higher star rating, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel, I don't know how to tell right now if a book is a 5-star, a 4-star, or 3-star. I know for a fact it's not a 2-star, because if it was a 2-star or a 1-star, I wouldn't even have been bothered talking about it. But I just don't feel like it was a 4 or 5-star, because like for me, Funny Story was a 5-star 6-star because I was giddy. I was emotional. I cried tears. I was connected to the characters. I wanted more. I was sad that the book was over, and I was like, I wish that this was a series. And then I was like, I need to start a romance series so that I could just live with these people's love stories for multiple books. This book, I was sitting there silently reading, and I was just reading, like, this is interesting. There was times where I was like, ugh, this is annoying. And then there was times where I was like, oh, like, wow, I actually like this part. But it wasn't like, you know what I mean? That is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying to the end and listening to me yapping. I don't even know how long this video is gonna like end up being. The goal of this video was to read these 3 books and get out of my reading slump and to no longer be in the position where like I just don't want to read and I'm scrolling on my phone endlessly. I would say by the end of this vlog, I have finished books that genuinely have gotten me out of my reading slump, and I think maybe later on I might re-rate Magnolia a little 3.75 or something, because at the end of the day I was in a reading slump coming into this video. I had not read for 3 to 4 months straight. Like, somehow I read this entire book. I created the recipe for getting out of reading slump. Read a book that confuses you so much that you can't stop reading it, and one that you're so obsessed with and in love with because the characters are in love that like you have to know their love story. Thank you guys for watching, and that's all I have to say. Bye.